Welcome to the One Shot Effect podcast. This is episode 5 or episode 6. I'm joined with
Chris or Christopher.
Chris.
I,
Who are you?
I'm a digital nomad working in Cape Town software.
As much detail as you like, brother. How long have you been on this journey? How old are you now?
I'm 29 years old, and I pretty much been working for 7, 8 years now. And like last year, I traveled for a year, but also working remotely which was my first kind of year as an
Digital
actual digital
nomad.
nomad. But I've been working pretty much my whole career working remotely. Didn't really have offices and things like that. So and I love completely being able to work remotely and not being tied to an office and four walls and things like that. So,
Yeah, what a journey. So, what did you do in your year? Where did you go?
So I traveled. I actually started in a small town in Italy, which is in Piombino.
Why?
Super nice.
Should we Google it? What's it called?
Piombino. I met a girl from Italy, which was at a place in
Ooh.
Cape Town, and she just told me about has this like kind of idea of like for the small town in Italy called Piombino to kind of bring lots of digital nomads there because it's a very small town. So we had a month, or I stayed there for months. Some people stayed there for 2 months, and then we just pretty much did some fun activities together.
Fun activities together.
activities
What
together.
was the most
Like
fun
actually
activities?
electric. For the first time I went for like electric in a small town in Italy. But yeah, and then from there
On a bike,
on an electric bike.
like one each, or
We all had our own electric bike, and we were all going.
Damn,
But it's like
that's
not
pretty
completely
modern, bro.
electrical. It's like kind of like manual and electrical, so it's like semi electric, which is quite nice. You like literally give like a little bit of a paddle, and then it goes like a lot. So
That's-
yeah, from there, from Piombino took a boat across from there to Croatia, Split. From there, was there for like because I could only stay for 2 months in Europe because of the Schengen visa, or actually 3 months. But then because I was there 2 years ago, they only have to wait 180 days before you get another visa for 3 months. So then I got 2 months, and then I was in quite a rush. Went from Croatia to Budapest, from Budapest to Prague to like Berlin or Amsterdam, Hamburg, yeah, Berlin, Amsterdam, Hamburg. I forget the exact order. And then from there, spontaneously met someone from Georgia. Georgia, like it's
bro,
quite
your
close.
life is just following girls around the world, bro.
Yeah. And then so I went from Berlin flew to Georgia. Was there for like a month. Ended
That's
up staying there
insane.
for like a month because
I
I'm just
love
working
that.
from there. And from Georgia to like Bali, and then
Ooh,
Bali to Thailand, and my mom joined me in Thailand, which was really cool. And from Thailand, pretty much ended off in Vietnam, and I was there also for like a month, just over a month. So I only got back now this year, January, for my friend's wedding. Otherwise, I wouldn't probably have come back. But yeah, I had to come back at some point. Otherwise, I could have just stayed there.
fair. Stayed where? You
Stayed in Vietnam.
What did you think of Vietnam?
I loved it. It's super cheap. Like it's really cheap compared to like South Africa. But it's also beautiful. Like it's beautiful drive where you can drive like a motorbike. It's like called the Hajang Loop, which is super beautiful. And it reminds me also a little bit about South Africa as well, like the scenery we have. Yeah.
Yeah. So seems like you are a woman motivated man.
Yeah.
So
No,
you're
I
quite
do.
a lover. How's your relationship history been? Are you in a relationship at the
I'm not
moment, or
currently in a relationship. No, my last relationship was probably like 3 years ago, or more than 3 years ago, just over 3 years ago. But I do have, or friends that know me will know that I have a lot of female friends, probably more female friends than guys, which is sometimes good,
fair?
sometimes bad.
Sometimes good, sometimes
Um,
bad.
but yeah, it's good. I do enjoy meeting. I just have a love for people in general, and I just love meeting new people and speaking to people, and yeah, discovering more about each individual's unique journey.
People definitely
And
are a
that,
beautiful thing.
yeah, no, for sure. Like when I met Felix, and we also was kind of focused towards single people, but also now it's been opening up. And just I was coming in from my car. I was coming into the I was like, place, and he's like, "Is that your car?" Because he saw my pants, and my pants was colorful. My car is like very colorful.
We're gonna have to put a photo for the viewers, or maybe link to
You
your.
could be like, "Hey, over there."
We'll
Um,
figure that out.
yeah. So yeah, it's like a pretty much I won the car, and when I after I won the car, it was just white. So I
Oh, that's
like
so
put like a wrap
sick.
on it, which is now it's like tie dyed, which was so that's pretty much how Felix just saw me. It's like that's your car. It's like cool car, and then now we've been knowing each other for quite a while. So
Now we're doing a podcast, brother. The full
yeah,
circle
super
of it
cool.
all.
Yeah.
So, when you were a young child, did you like what jobs did you want to maybe do when you were a young child? Did you always see yourself where you are today, and what was your upbringing like, and where did you grow up?
So I grew up in a small, very small town in Mossel Bay, and then I moved to Cape Town for work, or I went to study in Port Elizabeth, and then finished my 3 year software development course there. Came to but I've always, from a young age, I kind of remember in school, even with a friend of mine, we would like making our own website, made like a little bit
That's
of funny,
badass.
like try to make like a little bit of money from a website, but it's like
How
still
old are you guys then?
like high school, so
And
like
where
16,
are you staying? We
15
should. I'll try and Google it maybe.
in Mossel Bay. Mossel Bay,
Okay,
small town along the Garden Route.
beautiful.
So yeah, from there I was always wanted to from a young age I wanted to be like design. I played games like computer games, and I was like I wanted to design or develop my own games. And then I realized that it's quite tough. So it's like okay, let me just
You
make.
realize it's quite tough.
It's like okay, I'm just gonna make some websites. Easier. Still have that interest, but and then I just ended up so just doing website design and development, and that's kind of where I am now.
So you
And
design
that's
websites.
yeah, and that's where I started my own company. Eventually, I want to get to a point where I can actually, at the moment, now I'm working for another company, but have my own company and have my own ideas. Like I have a lot of own ideas, which one of them I'm working now on for a client, which is very similar, but to launch my own kind of software, which can be very, or like a lot of passive income for me, which I don't have to. It's like the dream of everyone to have like a passive income of like not do anything and just let your software run for you, and you don't have to, like for example, take us on Facebook and like Mark Zuckerberg, like just in the garage develop this thing, and now it's like he has no issue. But yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it is definitely a dream of a lot of people to have passive income, but the question is true passive income real? And how and what and we must be very careful between the differentiation between property, which is sold as passive income. No, property is a lot of work. There's a lot
Yeah,
of moving
yeah,
pieces involved, you
yeah.
know.
No, I think there will always be like, for example, websites to maintain and things like that. There's never where you can just do nothing. And I think also I can't see myself like just doing nothing at all. Like I think life would be so boring if you just have all this money and you don't have to do anything. You can just keep having fun, and it's like you want something to do or be has yeah have to do something to kind of keep your life busy.
Do you think it's important to be busy?
I think so. Yeah, I think if we're not busy, we can get quite as humans. We can be quite, or like if we're not, especially involving other humans, we can be very lonely. So it's like it's important that we as humans want to depend on, or like we're dependent on one another. The way I believe we designed. So it's like we need to depend on one another, and we want to help each other, like as a society.
So you think it's important to be busy? It's important to contribute to society,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
So your car, how has that affected your life? How did that happen? Yeah, tell us more about the car.
Well, yeah, I was never planning. I was planning or before I won my car, buying a car, obviously, and that's how I won the car. I was going to buy my friend's car, and I just did like a quote for insurance to buy my friend's car, and then here I am got blessed with a car. So that's
Wow.
kind of given me a good jump in life. And the way I see it, it's like I've been blessed, so I can bless a lot of other people. And that's pretty much what I do. And like meeting other people, the way I can help them, I want to help them as much as I can. If that is in just helping them with their IT or software stuff, or if it's buying them food or whatever that is.
I love that, bro. Yeah, I think what a privilege to be blessed. I think to have more. My mom says this quote: "When you have more than enough, build a longer table, not a higher wall."
Hmm.
Do you understand?
Well, yeah, along the table, not higher.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
you don't want
blessing
to
to
elevate
share.
yourself. You want to stay humble. I think it's good to stay humble.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. It actually makes me think there was this one time I won $1,000 on Twitter, and I
Yeah.
bought this laptop actually. So I think when you get blessed in life, it's important that you invest that time, that energy into yourself. We got my bird clock going off there in the background. Pretty cool, right? I
That
think
is
it's from
cool.
Germany, the clock. Nonetheless, oh, my uncle. Yeah, so what work have you done? What did you study when you were a kid? Is this the job you thought you wanted to have? And you were saying more about the websites you've had in the past. Tell us
Mm.
some more.
Uh, so I haven't I was actually the other day I was looking at like these old websites I designed. Obviously now this is like 10 years ago, and it's completely outdated, like completely because technology is moving so fast. And it was literally just like a blog spot still, and I think it was on I can't remember, yeah, like Google Blogspot or something. And we had and added our own like little games, like embedding it from another website where people can just play games and things like that, like these mini games. But now it's obviously outdated. So that was that. And then yeah, what was the question?
But yeah, just kind of
Uh,
your jobs that you've had, how you got into the jobs
oh
that
yeah.
you've had.
So I actually just recently, which is now my second month probation for this company.
Probation. It sounds like jail, dog.
Probation. No, it's probation for I was before the company officially takes permanently employs me. So I'm on 3 months. Usually it's 1 month, but just to kind of see if I'm actually going to get a hang of the company before they permanently employ me. So I'm not fully permanently employed, just to see if I can actually get along with the work. So I'm on my second month now, and it's going really well. It's for a company called Fresh Projects, which basically have designed this project management software for architects and engineers. So that's pretty much what I'm doing now. And before that, I was working for a company which was one of the biggest, or working for a small startup company, which I'm working for now as well. But the startup company's client was called Abelobi, which is a fish company, which they provide fish, and we would write websites as well as mobile apps for them to basically track, like to see how many fish they caught, the fishes, what did they catch, like what was the weight of the fish. Then they can kind of log it on the app to see what time the fish was caught, when it was caught, where it was caught, kind of all statistics like that.
Wow, that's
Um,
pretty fun. And I think maybe there's a good question of, is it important to be interested in the work we're doing?
I think it's got like, I absolutely agree, yes, but also it's got like a fine balance between you want to love the work, what you're doing, but you also, at the end of the day, work is still work. You don't want to love it that much that you it doesn't feel like work. Like, so it's a balance between love what you're doing. You don't want to hate what you're doing, but you also don't want to love what you're doing too much. So it's just like, becomes like entertainment. It's actually not work, because then you're not going to be in that mindset of like, hey, this is actually work. Like, I'm getting paid for this. This is not just for fun. If that makes sense.
It's not just for fun, but it can still be fun.
Yeah,
Is
yeah, it can be
basically
still
what
for
you
fun.
say.
Yeah.
What are your goals and interests, brother?
So my goals would be to, yeah, as I said a little bit, it would be to work as a so one of my big goals, which I have been doing, especially being a digital nomad, is traveling. And that's like a wanderlust. I have this wanderlust for travel as a traveler, and I would just like want to travel the whole world eventually. Like, I've done like most of Europe now, Southeast Asia. I'm planning on going to Mexico in November, which is super exciting, and working from there.
Congrats, bro. Mexico.
Mexico, Latino, Espanol. So I've been learning some Spanish, which I will be then using while I'm there, so I can practice my Spanish much better. But and then as well as, so hopefully for now I'm still working for a company, but I want to be completely freelancer where I can manage my own times that will allow me to travel the world as well as earning income while I'm traveling.
Yeah, it would be pretty cool to travel the world, huh? So, would you ever want to vlog or collaborate with Airbnbs or make money by traveling in any sense? Or would you prefer to separate your money and your travel? You make money from your work and you travel as maybe that's what motivates you to earn money?
Yeah. So I wouldn't like. I would just like in my like how I don't really believe in like for example I'm grateful for every day. Like I don't want to be constantly thinking about like the future. So I don't want to really save up money for the future. Like I just want to enjoy my travel now and have enough money to travel now as I'm traveling the world, not
Yeah.
saving up money separate and traveling. So I'd rather want to use the money as I'm traveling compared to just saving up money, and I never know if tomorrow or a month's time of my life is guaranteed, so I don't know that. So I'm just enjoying every day, traveling, living my dream, um, in whatever I do.
And I think that is quite synonymous with our generation and the young generation. I saw a thing that said we're the most educated generation, but we're the generation with the least amount of wealth. But I think there is also something in being said in a lot of people our age want to enjoy the money now.
Mm,
They don't want to subscribe to the work, 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 then retire one day. You know?
mm.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I think for my example, my my generation, I'm 1995, so I would be considered Gen Z. Oh no, millennial. But the Gen Z generation is a way different, and the way that they've been growing up is a little bit different to the way we grew up. For example, with technology and technology evolving so faster, and it feels like we in this like a rat race of everything's just like getting faster and faster, and technology is wanting instant access, instant gratification. I think that's becoming more and more in the as the generations are going. So, which
100%.
yeah, which could be a good thing, but also a bad thing.
I'm going to quickly go to the bathroom, but you can read this question and that question if you want and entertain the viewers, but start with Glenn's question there.
Oh, quick question: do you have to pay for a fishing license? It's $85 a year here in California. So unfortunately, I do not have the the answer to that question. Since I was just working for the fishing company, and I have contact with people still because this is my ex company, so I could find out for you and get back to you. I can tell Felix, and he can. They'll definitely know since they work. The company, the client I was working for, was Abelobi, which I mentioned, which is a big fish company. So they will definitely have the answer to that question. So I'll just remember that question so that Felix can, or I can ask them, since I was more just developing the software for them. Um, and then can I share about my journey that led you to become a digital nomad? So I think that my journey that started with me becoming a digital nomad was just my love for uh, being firstly like different, like in a world where a lot of people are the same. I just want to be different, and having that this wanderlust to travel international, not just be limited to South Africa, not having like a closed-minded being in South Africa, but actually traveling and seeing the rest of the world that has been created, which we haven't seen yet. So just that desire to see what is out there, that is unseen. So yeah, I think for me that's the reason why I've decided to become digital nomad, especially allowing me to travel and see things that other people necessarily can't see. Like the stream, everyone double tap. Yeah, double tap the stream. But yeah, I will get back to you, Glenn. I just need to say this question because I don't have the question now, but Glenn was asking this question, which I can definitely give him the answer, but I don't have the answer right now. I can
Okay,
ask
Glenn,
the
you
ask
can
the.
even reach out directly to him via Instagram, perhaps, if you don't mind.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
What is your Instagram again? You can just type it for him,
It's
maybe there.
I'll type it. Yeah.
Oh, no, no need, but
Eh?
yeah, go for it.
Yeah. There we go.
If Glenn is still in the chat, but I think he might be. Oh, someone else. The bank. Go to the bank. All right.
Good.
Let's move on then. Okay, so you shared a bit about your journey,
Mm.
what led up to becoming a digital nomad. But yeah, I think it's the way to go, brother. You know, if you have the luxury to work online, you should use that luxury. Yeah, what does a typical day in your life look like while traveling?
So when I was traveling, for example, internationally, a typical day would be like, especially because I would move around a lot, so I wouldn't really plan for too much. Every day would be different and unique, which is something that I like. That don't want to. In general, I don't like planning, so I want to kind of just keep things spontaneous. So every day would be different, but my typical day would be like, depending on which time zone I am, because I'm working for a South African company, my we would have a meeting every day, say, for example, at 10 o'clock, which would be SA South African time. But depending on which country I am, which is the time's a little bit different, every day I would just have a quick call with my fellow colleagues, and we would just catch each other, like how am I finding my work, or is there anything it's blocking me, and what I've done the previous day and what I'm planning on to do today. And then pretty much after work, say from 9 to 5, go and explore the current city or whatever country I am in, speak to other people. Especially, I was staying in a lot of hostels, so obviously meet people from all over the world.
Bro,
And
that's a good place to have a podcast for real.
yeah, that is a fantastic
Like that's what
place.
when I go back to Bali, I might be going in the next month or two. I just want to interview a lot of founders out there.
Yeah, definitely, and especially in Bali, there's a hotspot. There's a city called Canggu, which is it's a hotspot for digital nomads, and yeah, I think people can have a lot of different. Yeah, it would be a good place to have these conversations.
How has traveling as a digital nomad impacted your personal growth and worldview?
I think it's only added to my worldview, um, and my personal growth would be. It's actually made it easier in some sense, like in some sense, maybe like if you working the whole time from working remotely, for example, not working in an office, it could be like lonely. But for me, because I love meeting other people and I'm more extroverted, I want to actually meet other people, so I would go to like co-working spaces and things like that. um, so in that sense, I can improve my communication skills with my personal growth and things like that.
We have a question from a viewer here. They say, "At what age should I start traveling?" Maybe a good question would be, "What age did you start traveling,
Yeah,
and how
I would.
important do you think
That's a
traveling is in
that's
people's lives?"
that's a really good question, and I think that the best, as soon as you have, and actually, especially if you do your research, you can travel for without having a big income. For example, I wanted to travel here in South Africa. We have, which was I was planning on traveling like 5 years ago, but then COVID hit, well, I guess global COVID. So people got locked down and I couldn't travel. I had to get the vaccination, which I ended up doing because I just love traveling so much.
Oh, they're going to say you love vaccines so
No,
much.
no, I did not want to get the vaccine, but I was like, I love travel more than I do not want to get the vaccine.
Hmm,
So I got it so I can travel. But yeah,
good
to
man.
get back to the question, I would say, so as soon as you say, I think you build so much character and build so much maturity from traveling. So from age after school, after your studies, maybe, or even during your studies, you could like obviously work for a school in international, like an international school, like as an au pair, or do like au pairing, or work on a farm, or things like that, which you don't need big finances. So there's definitely, I would just advise it as soon as possible. Like the sooner you start traveling, the better. There's no kind of too early or too late. Like anything, I would say from 18 years older.
Yeah, what are some of the different jobs you've worked, brother, along your journey?
So it's been mostly the fish company, which I mentioned, and before that, it was actually it was just for a year, which was for a logistical company, which is very a corporate company, which I did not like at all. I'm And that's after that I went back into two startup, which is now a startup company, which I just like the culture of startup companies. I didn't like the corporate world at all, and they also don't really allow you to travel as much. So yeah, corporate. I was in a corporate for a year, which I didn't like, which was called Logistics, which was basically just writing websites to kind of track where trucks are going and transferring goods and things like that. Um, and before that was which I started my work with, was also for a friend of mine's company, which I was just working whatever client work needs, doing the work for them. But that was also working remotely, so pretty much, yeah, pretty much the fish company, logistical company, and then now, which is like the project management software for architects and engineers.
Okay, sick. So yeah, you've done a couple online jobs. How do you manage that? How do you balance spending so much time online or on in front of screens, and how do you set good work life balance? I guess.
Yeah, I think I love, for example, the nature, and that's especially living in Cape Town, and places I've traveled has like really beautiful nature. So Cape Town has a lot to offer, like hiking and things like that. So after work or even during work, especially now working for a startup company, they're way more chilled in terms of having a work and a life balance. So if I want to take like an hour, go for a quick hike, if I want to take an hour and do a quick podcast, that's fine. Which I'm doing now, for example. So yeah, I think it's good to have a work and a life balance, and not just because you can easily get like burnout, and you can just burn out yourself, and then you don't, in terms of work, you're not productive at all.
How do you avoid burnout?
um, by doing things you love. For example, like I love hiking, swimming, going going for swims, getting in nature. I would say
Mm.
is a good thing, and being reminded of how much, like I'm just thinking of your podcast, like how grateful we are to be alive, to have breath, to all these things, like just to take off your mind off work, because I think you can, yeah, get so into work and you forget about all these things. Meditating, for example, so things like that.
Sorry, just had to send a quick text. This is the reality of being a digital nomad. Is work boundaries are tricky to manage.
Mm.
Anyways, what have been some of the most memorable experiences or challenges you've experienced while traveling?
I think there's so many.
There's so many. Traveling is traumatizing at times.
Yeah, I think in terms of challenges, would be the biggest one would probably be, especially if it's like I'm working for example, a South African company where the time zone is like, compared to like in Thailand, I think it's like 5 hours different, so that's still manageable. But if it's something like Mexico or 7 or 8 hours, or America, it could be, the time zone could be very big, so that could be difficult to manage your time. But other than that, challenges, obviously, the places I've traveled to, for example, has had, as long as you have, as a digital nomad, have a good internet connection, um, there's not many challenges, really. Like, other than like personal challenges, like in terms of work challenges, would be just as long as you have a good internet connection. Like, it's kind of quiet when you have like your meetings, that's fine. Like, especially for me, even staying in hostels, like sometimes it's not quiet to find. It's not easy to find like quiet spaces. But I think I was just thinking now, the biggest challenge would be to, like, especially staying in a hostel, and you would see all these people like having fun and going out, and like,
FOMO.
yeah, having FOMO, and be like, oh flip, I actually have to sit and work. Which, but then
Yeah,
afterwards you can actually go out and meet other people, so it has its positives as well.
yeah, it's a tricky balance, huh? I mean, I remember being in Bali and my friend, she was from Ukraine. She would start work as her friends were watching the sunset.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, that's pretty
that's a
rough,
time zone.
right?
Yeah, yeah. especially the sunset. So you don't want to miss out on it. But that happens sometimes, and then the next day, you might be able to see the sunset. So especially that's the thing with being like a freelancer, which I'm working towards, so I can manage my own time completely, so that I know I can tell my clients like, hey, I'm not going to be working from 5 till 7 that sunset time because I actually want to enjoy the sunset. So things like that, you become more flexible when you actually do freelancing compared to working for a company.
That's really true. This guy says he's 35 years old, but don't tell anyone because I say I'm 29 because I refuse to turn 30.
Yeah,
That's the same, similar as you, bro.
I'm also, I'm
Maybe you're
29.
35.
I don't know. I'm turning 30.
He's the opposite of you, bro.
I'm turning 30 in only next year, start next year. But yeah, well, realities, like time goes on, but like the way I see it is I'm still like young at heart. Like my heart's still going to stay the same. So even my physical body is getting older. I actually saw this thing recently where they discovered like kind of like a science thing where they can kind of deverse, where they're trying to want to reverse like aging, but still experimenting, obviously.
Yeah, have you ever heard of a guy called Brian Johnson?
Brian Johnson sounds familiar.
Bro, I love this guy. Basically, he's like he's this ultra millionaire. He's now trying to. He says death is our only foe. So he's big on longevity and living long. And some people say he looks like a vampire. He uses his son as a blood boy. So yeah, it's interesting the things people are trying to do to not die, right?
Yeah.
Think we sacrifice our wealth for health. Or we sacrifice our health for wealth and then our wealth for our health in the end.
Yeah.
So it's important to be healthy, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he sells olive oil, longevity mix, essential capsules. Do actually want to check this stuff out, but cacao powder, bro. But yeah, I mean, homie is also making money for sure. That's a thing. But he is also, he gives a lot of free like advice and stuff. Sure, he has a lot of products, bro. Yeah, people be spending money online, bro.
Yeah.
Homie was in the Time magazine, the New York Times. So we show you his YouTube channel, I suppose. But maybe we're getting off topic. What are some of the best adventures you've had with your car so far?
So one funny story. I have quite a lot of funny stories, but one funny story
Tell us funny stories, bro.
would be I was driving in Stellenbosch and I was driving just past like a street. And as I was driving past, I looked down the one street and I see this guy and girl holding hands, just walking down the street. And suddenly, as soon as the girl made contact with my car, she obviously like really enjoyed it, loved it. And she just left his hand. She's like, I'm going to leave this guy and I'm just going to run to try and get a picture of my car as it was passing by, which was quite funny.
So they try to take a photo of your car?
Yeah. And then another one would be like just when, especially children walking with their mom, they'll see my car for the first time. And obviously, I think a lot of children love just seeing something like
crazy,
colorful, something crazy. So they'll see like, hey, and they'll like tag their like
tag,
not tag,
tag,
like,
bro.
Like shake, tag, like shake their mom, like, hey, mom,
tag, bro,
like tag
them on Instagram, real
tag
quick.
them on Instagram. Be like, hey, mom, look, mom, there's a rainbow car. Like children always want to show if they see something, like, mom, see that? Look what I'm doing, mom. Like, hey, I just did this. Or look, mom, there's a rainbow car.
Yeah. So has it brought you a lot of attention? Would you say?
No, definitely. And I think one thing's also like that helped me a lot is, for example, my eyesight's not the best. So when I park somewhere in a parkade, and I'm looking for my car, it's so easy to find my car. Like I don't have to look through all these cars because it just stands out so much.
Fair. Bro, how trippy are these? Are you a robot things or
and
not?
funny now, so many robots can actually do all these things. Or it's like trying to get robots not to do it, but now with AI can kind of solve some of these puzzles.
So have either of us gone to America? Any American stories? Your side?
I have not gone to America at all.
Damn.
But
I have been to the Atlanta airport. That's the most I've done, brother.
Atlantic, yeah.
Atlanta airport on my way to Costa Rica, the biggest blue zone in the world. People living
Costa Rica,
along, eating a little
living
bit
the
of
vida loca,
pura vida living. Anyway, this is this guy's channel.
drinking coconuts on the beach.
Oh, coconuts are good, brother. This guy asks, "What's the biggest fish you ever caught? Have you caught fish?"
I actually do not catch fish. I don't like really necessarily catching fish. Just working for a fish company. That's pretty much the forest I would go into. Or writing software for a fish company, but myself don't really like catching fish or anything.
Okay, so you don't like catching fish.
Nah.
I mean, to be honest, I haven't done much fish catching either, but I have been around people when they fish. It's pretty trippy, pretty interesting. It's pretty like catching an alien. What a different world that is.
Yeah, no, for me it takes way too long. Fishing takes a lot of patience, which sometimes I do have, sometimes I don't. But yeah, I'd rather be swimming or surfing in the ocean than catching fish.
Swimming rather than catching fish. Valid though, valid, bro. How do you? What kind of work do you do as a digital nomad, and how did you get into that? We touched on that a little bit. Maybe you could just expand on that, and maybe expand how you see your career going, and how you see working online evolving. I think more and more people are working online, but yeah, maybe it's the question is how is things going to change?
Yeah, I think there's more and more, for example, South Africa not too recently opened up a digital nomad visa, and I think more and more companies will be opening up visas for people to work remotely because a lot of companies are realizing like they don't actually need office spaces. People can still work remotely and still get their job done, and which means they don't have to pay for office spaces. So
Hmm.
I think yeah, a lot of people are going more of the remote lifestyle. Um, but for me, like I don't want to be like
Location locked.
location exactly taking my
So
words.
location freedom is more valuable than time
Yes,
freedom, but then time freedom is more valuable than
I don't think
financial freedom, and then financial freedom is more valuable
not for
than
me. So for me, time would be the most valuable
time is the most
compared
valuable.
to financial. I'd rather have more time than
But that's what I'm
financial.
saying.
Yeah.
I said time is more valuable than financial,
Oh, okay. Sorry, I
and I
thought
was
other way
saying
around.
location is more valuable than time,
Yeah.
because that's also true. Like to like yeah. So yeah, it's about freedom, right?
Mhm.
Is that what
Yeah.
inspires you? Would you say? How do
Yeah.
you see people's freedom changing in the next couple of years?
Um, I think in each country it'll probably be different, but in terms of South Africa, I think it's actually not to be. Yeah, I think South Africa is obviously a dangerous country, and um, the world is getting more dangerous. I mean, especially with poverty and things, but so depending on the
The
country.
haves and the have-nots,
Yeah,
the inequality of it all.
yeah. So in one sense, it's getting worse, but yeah, that's why I've been in South Africa for a long time, so I would love to stay longer. Like for example, now stay 6 months in Mexico and stay there. Although Mexico is also like really dangerous, I would love to just go stay for a long period of time in one country, especially after now traveling very short, and that's a big thing for me as well. Like especially making connections from traveling with these people. Like you meet them and you don't see them again. So it would be nice now to like stay in and actually build good friendships and things like that.
So, how long would you travel to a place recently, and how long would you prefer to go in future? And what places are you looking forward to going to, brother?
So my next would be obviously Mexico for like a 6 months, but once I'm there,
6 months.
yeah. So,
That's
but
pretty long, brother.
yeah, but not just in Mexico. So probably once I'm in Mexico, I'll go to like Brazil, maybe then longer
Brazil.
than 6 months, but
Brazil.
also
Guacamole.
Guacamole just below it. So travel kind of Costa
Guacamole.
Rica, Puerto Rico, the countries around to Mexico. Like just travel outside of South Africa.
Yeah.
That's my plan for 6 months. but then maybe longer than 6 months, especially there's no, depending on my visa and things like that, how long I can stay. Obviously, I have my family back in South Africa, which I would like to visit, but I see
how often do you prefer to see your family or visit family?
Well, I would
friends?
think at least once, maybe if I can afford to travel once a year. That would be like South Africa would still be my base. I would still kind of see my family once a year, not less than once a year.
Okay. It's interesting to see how it evolves as well. Like different people almost more happy than ever to be away from their friends and family because you're just one video call away, right?
Yeah, cool. Yeah, exactly. And
no, but I guess that's the question. Do you find that? So a lot of people find solo traveling or digital nomading quite lonely. How would you relate to that?
Yeah, like I think it's important. Obviously, we have technology like video and things like that can make us still kind of feel, and virtual reality and things like that to kind of make us still feel connected. However, I think physical touch, physically being next to someone, it's still important. We don't want to lose that. So, yes, we can get lonely as working remotely, and it's important to not just work in one like office space the whole time, for example, and travel, and so that you can physically be with other people. Yeah.
100%. Would you like something to eat, brother? Oh, you gotta go, huh?
I probably gotta go soon. Yeah, what's the time? 13:30. Yeah, at least like another 10, 20, 10, 15 minutes. But yeah, I actually had something to eat before I came, so
Blessings, brother.
still good.
So confusing to order on some of these websites.
What do you
Okay, so it has to be the same one, which is smoked chicken. It's probably a good choice. Black bean could be good. I think chicken's not a bad idea. Hopefully it comes with some cheese as well, you know?
Uber Eats. Do you know about You Cook? Well, I'm not a personal fan of cooking, so I do.
He's not a fan of cooking. Digital Nomad's not a fan of cooking, guys. You heard it
Absolutely.
here first. No, I'm just kidding. I feel like that is a good stereotype.
Anybody
though.
got time for
Digital
that?
nomads and going out for food, huh?
Yeah, especially if you can afford someone to pay to make
If your
food for
time
you.
is worth more, and I think
Yeah.
that's the blessing. That's the blessing of the modern world, right? There is people can specialize on things. You can be a specialized in digital nomading and making money online, and someone else can make your food, your clothes. There's a beautiful part about that, right? What would you say about that? What would you say? Oh, what part of Mexico? Someone is asking.
So that would be Puerto Escondido, which is like a small city on the west.
Porto.
Escondi-
Type it for me, sir.
Puerto
It's nice to have a laptop too, actually. See, that's
Yeah,
better
that's
than
true.
just having a camera.
Yeah.
So
Oh, no,
maybe
that's
just
wrong. Wait.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's basically a small city on the west coast. But there's a lot of digital nomads and there's really good surf, so it's right on the coast.
Let's even try. I can even share the screen here. Screen. Oh, we're gonna have to give it permission there.
Yeah.
Boom, bro. Oh, we gonna need a fingerprint, boy. Oh, shit. We'll see if it's gonna work. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, blessings. Yeah. Tell us about this place. You can go through the photos.
Well, I've just heard many good things. I don't know
how far.
I just know
How
it's on the
expensive
coast.
is it?
It's similar to South Africa.
Oh,
in
similar to
terms
South
of
Africa.
currency.
Wow.
Yeah, similar to South Africa.
Oh, we gonna go together, brother?
Yeah,
or...
let's go.
I'm working online too these days. You know, my next trip is probably Bali.
Flight trips is not so expensive there, or especially if you stay there for quite a bit. But
are you a surfer, sir?
Yeah.
You surf?
Yeah.
How would you rate your skills out of 10?
Oh, I haven't surfed in a while, so it would be a little bit rusty.
Bro,
but,
that's beautiful, man.
I would say like 6 or 7.
Is there anything else you want to show the viewers? Actually, maybe even the rainbow car. Is that on your Instagram? Perhaps?
Yeah. Or you could just. Oh yeah.
I don't even think my Instagram's logged in here. Maybe I should just log it in.
Come to Thailand. Yeah, I've been to Thailand actually.
What's your thoughts on Thailand? Yeah, maybe we need to do a tier list. Give me like 5, 10 places you've been, and where did which was the top five? Or
it's really difficult to say because each country is unique and has its own individual things that I really like. But for example, Thailand is one of my favorite places. There's a small city called Pai, which is just north of Chiang Mai. Such a like hippie city, totally down my aisle. Beautiful nature, beautiful sunsets, and yeah, people are friendly, super friendly in Thailand. Same as in Bali as well. I would even say Thai people are even more friendly than Balinese people. So yeah, absolutely.
Oh wow!
Thailand.
Why do you think that is, sir? Do you think it's the legalization of the weed, sir, or
No, well, I think it's just their
that's
culture.
unrelated?
That's unrelated.
It's a more accepting culture, which is
Yeah.
exactly what led to the
Yes,
legalization
I
of
think
weed, perhaps.
it's related to some sense, but not the soul.
Okay.
It's more their culture that just they such welcoming and hospital people, as well as like Brazilians as well. Like that's why I would like to go to Brazil as well, because in Brazil, there's people are very hospitable. But yeah, Thailand's absolutely nice. You should definitely go there as well.
Yeah, I actually want to go to Thailand. I've been planning to go for a while. All right, we have a question. Have you ever been to any Mid-Eastern countries?
Mid-Eastern, no. It's definitely on my list. So, like, my next list plans would be Mexico, Chile, Guacamole, Brazil, maybe Argentina or Peru, and then Australia, and then Middle East, or maybe Middle East first and Australia. But yeah, depending on the war.
Middle East, then Australia.
Yeah.
What do you want to see in the Middle East?
I would love to go to Israel, for example. I'd love to go to Egypt. Those are pretty much the two ones. And then Turkey as well. I would love to go to Turkey.
Oh, Turkey does seem cool. I like the hot air balloons.
Yeah. Oh, and then I still want to do in Southeast Asia, like Cambodia, which I didn't do, as well as Cambodia and Laos, which is a very small, not so popular destination, but it's super nice.
What's super nice?
Laos and Cambodia, which is close to Vietnam and Thailand.
Laos.
L-A.
Louise,
Not Louise. It's not a popular destination, but it's becoming more and more popular.
Let's
in
do
Asia.
some more travel reviews here, brother. Laos, Shaban. Oh, that looks mad, bro.
Yeah, it's beautiful, and there's a lot of hot air balloons there as well. And
have, like, so this is next to Thailand. Oh, it's not
and
Thailand.
it's also cheap as well.
Cheaper than Thailand.
Thailand's
over high.
It's probably
it's right next to Vietnam.
Yeah.
So you've been to Vietnam as well.
Yeah. It's in between. It's in between Thailand and Vietnam. Yeah, it's on the border of Thailand and Vietnam.
That's sick. Any other places you want to look at, or any other places you're headed to next? Or I have a travel channel. It's mostly for family if you want to watch. Shout out Glenn. Would you ever post videos of your travels? That's a good question. And what is your thoughts on privacy and digital nomading and cybersecurity?
So I basically use Instagram for my travels, and especially meeting other people from.
We'll link your Instagram in the description, I think.
Yeah, for sure. You're welcome. Thanks. So I've got like a lot of actually stories that I've created from all the different countries that I've traveled to on my Instagram. So that would be my biggest collection of keeping stuff. And other than that, I just have Google Photos. That's all my personal photos and things like that. But yeah, so Instagram pretty much.
Yeah, Instagram's a good tool.
Yeah, for sure. And especially keeping in contact with other fellow travelers or other digital nomads, and then as well as like seeing places they travel and where they go to on Instagram stories and things like that. You can really keep up to date with things like that.
What tools or technologies do you rely on to stay productive on the road? How do you plan your days, or
in terms of work?
Yeah, whatever.
So, like for example, in my new company now, we use Google Chat just to keep connected with our fellow colleagues. But with my ex-company, I was using Slack just to keep in touch with people. But in terms of planning, mostly because I'm doing coding, don't really, or for like a little bit of design, would use like Figma, but otherwise just pretty much Visual Studio Code, which is just for coding, pretty much.
Video Studio Code.
Visual Studio, so VS Code.
What's VS Code? Is it coding
It's just
platform?
so it's called the IDE, which is basically uh, s- a s- a program to write code in that can compile the code or compiles the code for you into a website.
How has AI affected coding, would you say?
It has definitely helped it a lot, especially in terms of like there's
Bug
GitHub
fixing.
Copilot, which I use every day.
Oh, really? Every
Yeah.
Okay. Is it part of the
So it's-
coding website?
So
Is
GitHub,
coding software.
so GitHub is like a collection of all people's, especially like open source code or like even private code.
Yeah.
But GitHub Copilot is basically a tool, and it has extension in Visual Studio Code where you just write like the name of a method, which will then auto complete exactly the code which you need to finish that method.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
it's kind of live, real time, helping you code. It's like a AI assistant in terms of
So
showing
what
you.
I'm hearing is there's hope for me to become a coder,
Yes.
because I would be interested in coding an Instagram bot of sorts.
Mm.
But I'm also
Especially
scared
with-
because it's so easy to get banned with Instagram bots
Yeah.
and stuff.
But yeah, no, definitely like, especially with AI.
Even a LinkedIn bot could be interesting, bro. I need to grow my LinkedIn. Oh my
Yeah.
days. Can
Or
you code
like
me a
using
LinkedIn
like
bot or
Zapier,
something?
Zapier could do, or you can create your own Zaps. Like we've created like our own.
You recommend Zapier?
Zapier is good, but you can even like I prefer custom coding things, or rather write my own custom.
How easy is
custom-
it to do, sir?
Zapier is very straightforward to do.
What do you
to
use it
integrate-
for? What are some good use
Basically,
cases?
integrating different APIs, different companies talking to each other. For example, Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Google Sheets, Google Docs integrate, and you can write your own custom scripts with which links Google Sheets to Instagram, and that posts in. Yeah, you can do
Bro,
a
I
lot
need
of
to do
things,
some.
automations and things like that with Zapier. Definitely a good tool.
Bro, I need to do some for real. I don't know how to get started. Would you be able to show us? What's a good example?
Well, I myself hasn't really written a lot. Like I'd rather just write the like custom scripts and things. But there's, if you look up, for example, start from a template, save need all these things you can do or add your own things. It's basically just automation to automate. You can automate a lot of different things. If you look, maybe Zapier,
That's pretty good.
I don't know what's the word, but basically all the different kind of options which you can choose.
This actually will be useful. Sorry about that.
And now we recently, the company I'm working for now, you can actually, as part of Zapier, you can use our companies, like we have used our own Zap or create our own Zap, which other people then can use to integrate their or their, for example, their clients, or to import their clients or their employees into our software, which we provide for them.
Wait, say again.
So basically, we've created a Zap which anyone can use when they using our software project management software. They can import when they move over from the existing software that they were using to import their clients and employees and accounting information, or like Zero, for example, to import that all into our software. They're just their data, pretty much.
Playlist ID.
But yeah, you can definitely have a look in terms of like how Zapier can help you.
Yeah, it's confusing.
there's a
I'll
lot.
have to figure it out, I guess. But there's so many great tools
yeah.
I need to check out. What are some of your short-term and long-term goals as a digital nomad?
Short-term goals would be to finish where I'm now at the moment, like my own client for my company, to kind of finish the software for them, which I've started with, and which is making good progress now, which is basically like a website. It's going to become an app where people, like big event organizers, can organize like events, and then other like vendors can basically sign up as well. And they can say, hey, I've got a food vendor, or I'm going to provide toilets, one could provide whatever they're providing. If you think like a big event, they need toilets and electricity, they need sound, they need kind of all those different kind of things they need. So then the vendor will sign up. They can say, I'm looking for events that I want to provide my services. Pretty much it's like a Facebook to link, like event organizers, event goers, as well as event vendors to provide different services at big, massive events. And basically just one platform to keep that all together. So that's my project that I'm working on now. So that would be my short-term goal, to kind of get that out as for my portfolio, to get that on my portfolio, to say, hey, I've actually created this thing from scratch. And then in terms of long-term goal would be,
What did you create from scratch?
well, this software that I'm busy on.
Oh, you're busy working on it.
Yeah.
How far are you? How much can you share?
Actually, I just recently, last night, deployed something, but it's still in development stages. But it's basically like almost 3 months in, but hoping by December to have like phase 1 out, doing the front end as well as the back end. So, yeah, definitely show you.
For what?
It's for this event company, or for where people can sign up as events. So, if you can go to Bravo Events,
Okay.
basically just at the moment there's just a newsletter which we're also still working on. It's not ready yet at all. A newsletter, yeah, where you can if you say subscribe as a vendor, coordinator, or user, enter email, and we can send you for now. But
events.
Yeah, but
is
like
it
the signing
local
stuff,
or
I'm still working.
Can I sign up or no?
You can, but you need payment because it's a whole payment system as well. And before people can actually use it, we're going to, depending on which, if you like, at the moment it's only sign up works for like vendors, for like event go, and so we can create the whole page for like to post events, and like where event organizers can see is I want to list my event, or at the moment it's pretty much just a platform for vendors to upload their documents that, for example, like a liquor company that want to provide liquor at an event, they're going to provide like their liquor license, and then at the moment we can just like validate, like, hey, okay, this is actual valid liquor license, which will be the super admin of the software. So it's quite a big piece of software, but it's still very early stages. But
yeah, it's good to have. What were you saying? It was good to have.
Yes, that would be my long-term goal, but it's good to have it.
Or have your own app.
Yes, yeah.
Like,
I have to add it to my portfolio so I can to other people when I'm looking for new freelance or new clients.
Oh, okay.
So they can see,
I mean, it's even funny you say that. Even my CV, I often mention that I've had my own business,
Yeah.
How do you choose your travel destination, and what interests you most about them?
It's a good question. So I generally, like for example, I was never planning to travel to Georgia. I was just randomly in Berlin. I met someone from Georgia. And
That's trippy, bro. Tell us more about that. What was this person like? How did you meet them? I don't know. You have to just say their name, but what was that experience like? I find it could be quite a psychical experience, meeting new people in some ways, and even traveling itself is one of the most trippy experiences on earth.
Yeah, no, sure. So I actually just fell in love with this girl, and I was like, well, found out she's from Georgia, and that's why I went to Georgia, checked it out, and found it out that for South Africans, obviously Europe we can only stay for 3 months, but in Georgia you can stay for a whole year.
No way! Wait, Georgia's in America?
No, not the state. So there's a country which is close to Turkey.
Wow!
And you can stay there for a whole year.
Dude, no ways.
So,
and how do you manage your money online? That's a great question, actually.
Yeah, how do
I like this one app called Wise.
Yeah, Wise is
heard
really
of it?
Yeah.
Do you recommend it? Do you like
Absolutely, Wise
other
is really
ones,
good.
or?
There's Revolut, but Revolut, for example, in South Africa, it's difficult to get, but Wise is easy. And
so what do you use, sir?
I use Wise.
Use
or
Wise.
Just PayPal, but PayPal takes like a lot of.
Use Wise, bro. We could have affiliate coded each other. But we'll have a link to Wise. It's a good payment gateway for
good payment, especially for international. You can open up
Nomad.
any currency.
Yeah, dude.
bank.
I need a location from another country. Then you can have Wise in your Apple Pay. Did you know that?
Oh yeah, I didn't know that.
How cool is that, bro?
That is nice.
Yeah, it's interesting the amount of red tape South Africa has, bro. How do you choose your travel destination and what interests you most about them? You kind of said that. Are there any new skills or hobbies you're hoping to pick up
So,
while traveling?
sorry, just to finish on
Yeah.
that, what interests me most about that, like usually if I just meet people spontaneously and they'll recommend something, I'm like, oh, okay, that sounds like something I would like to do. So it's generally more spontaneous, not me going to planning, going to look what about this country before I go interests me. It's more like spontaneously meeting people, going to one country, meeting, especially staying in a hostel where there's people from all over the world. They have all different interests, and then
Facts.
whatever they mention, I'm like, oh, okay, that's really cool. I'm going to go there. So that's it's nice to be like flexible and things like that.
Facts.
But yeah, what was the other previous question? The question you say?
What's one destination on your bucket list you're excited to visit and why?
Well, Mexico, which is coming up, which has been wanting to travel there for quite a while, but I haven't decided to come back to South Africa to first save up money,
Yeah.
and see family, of course. So
Blessings.
yeah, hi.
Are there any new skills or hobbies you're hoping to pick up while traveling?
Well, number one would be like Spanish, learning Spanish.
Ooh. Do you
Um,
use Duolingo
I
or
have
how
been
do you?
using
What's your
Duolingo.
strategy to learn
Yes,
that?
Duolingo has been working quite well, and I'm like on almost 300 days now, so basically
Damn.
almost a year, and that's going to give me like quite a big boost for like. But once I'm actually staying in Mexico, I'll be able to learn way quicker because then I'll be forced to speak the language.
Fair. Well, yeah. Otherwise, we'll end the podcast on that note. Is there anything
Yeah.
else you wanted to touch on?
I think that's all good. Yeah.
Check out
You
his
mentioned
Instagram,
everything.
the
Yeah.
link in the description. And thank you for watching and subscribe to the One Shot Effect podcast. Thank you.
Cool. Cheers, everyone.
Keep going.